Watch me turn this burnt out vegetable bed into a Monarch Waystation over the course of the next couple months. Really? I just like to snap when I talk, but okay, man, we gotta iron some things out. I'll be back in a second. Check this voiceover.
Let's go.
Here's why this matters. Essentially, new development in these genetically modified herbicide resistance crops are killing the monarch habitat. From a new development standpoint, shopping malls, subdivisions, etc., they're consuming the monarch habitat at a rate of 6,000 acres a day. This is 9.4 square miles, basically 2.2 million acres a year, or a habitat the size of the great state of Illinois every 16 years. From a herbicide standpoint, back in the day, the farmers would have to till the crops, but now they're spraying these. They have these plants that are herbicide resistant to Roundup essentially, and they can spray the Roundup all over the place, not hurt the crops, but it kills all the stuff that the monarchs would naturally eat. And so, yeah, that's what's going on. The monarchs are losing the habitat from a herbicide standpoint at 100 million acres in recent years. So there you go, and back to the video. That's crazy, right? I didn't know that either until I read it on the website. And so here are the 7 recommendations from monarchwatch.org in order to start a Monarch Waystation. And their recommendation, because it's better to do 2 of the 7, 4 of the 7 than 0 of the 7. Step 1 is the size. They recommend at least a 100 square foot area. But here's the thing. Let's say you live in an apartment, you got a terrace, it's 8 by 4. You can only use half of it because you need to do something out on the terrace as well. And so let's say you split in half, so you got 16 square feet of usage. That's better than 0, right? And so a bunch of people do 16 square feet of usage, and the Monarch have clawed back a little percentage of the land that they've lost over the last decade or so. So I'm going to lay out I'm going for 140 square feet in my yard. So I'm going to lay out that area right now. So boom, marking the 10-foot marker over here. I'm still on camera? Yeah. Right to the edge of the current bed is 140 feet. So let's put another rock down over there. And I may go a little bit wider depending on how things work out. So step 1, establishing the perimeter of your way station. Number 2 is you want a location with at least 6 hours of sun. And that's because the plants that butterflies like typically are going to be in a full sun location. They're flowers. They're attracted to nectar. They're attracted to bright flowers. And those are going to be flowers and plants that require full sun in order to photosynthesize and bloom, which leads into number 3, which is well-drained soil. That's the same thing. The plants that are going to be in their habitat like well-drained soil. You can see from my yard right here. This soil is well drained. It has not rained in about 6 weeks, so there's been nothing to even drain out of the water, or out of the dirt. But well drained soil, because that's what the plants like. Number 4 is shelter, and by shelter that means packing the plants close together so that the monarchs, the butterflies, the pollinators can hide amongst the plants that are in there. Think about, look at a monarch. They have like no way to defend themselves. They're just, if you could pluck a monarch butterfly, you could kill it by knocking off its wings. So they have like those big dots on the wings. I think they're supposed to resemble eyeballs, but they can't defend themselves. So you want to make sure that the plants are packed together. So if you go back to number 1, where we're talking about like size, if you're like, I want to stretch these plants apart in order to meet the 100-foot recommendation, it's better to do 70 or 80 feet and have it packed in close together than to spread stuff out just so you can meet this 100-foot goal, which is honestly kind of arbitrary. Not arbitrary, but they may, you know what I'm saying. They put some thought into the 100-foot number. So there you go. Real quick, if you've gotten value so far, subscribe to the channel. You can follow my journey integrating the Monarch Waystation and some of the other tips I have on my channel. Share this with a friend. You never know who you may inspire to be the next great Monarch Waystation or Monarch saver going forward. So back to the video. 5 and 6 are super vital and important. I'm going to group them into one. Number 1 is milkweed. This is not milkweed. It is the plant that the monarchs eat, and it is the only plant that they lay their eggs on, which is
obviously vital to sustaining their population. So milkweed, milkweed, milkweed. Make sure you have it in your way station. Next are native plants. I'm here in Texas, Zone 8B. This is native Texas lantana. Typically, what you see like at Home Depot, Lowe's, in most people's front yard is just a hybrid of lantana. I didn't know there was a native version until I started doing my research on the website. So make sure you're planting. Next is native plants so that the monarchs can have nectar in their garden. What I did was I went to a local native nursery and got a bunch of native plants. I have lantana here, and these are once again for my area. You want to go to just Google native monarch loving plants, something to that nature in your area to figure out what works in your zone because you don't want to pick what I picked if you're like in DC or Northern California. I don't know if that would be the same. I know there's different types of milkweed specifically for each area, and I'll put those up on the screen. Now, you may be thinking, it seems expensive to fill out this full native garden bed, especially if you're 100 feet, 100 or 200 feet with plants. So, what I did was I bought this bag right here. It is butterfly retreat mix, and it's all native plants, once again, native to my area. Um, I'll give you an example. This gay feather blue star, it's a plant I had did research before I went to the local nursery. They didn't have it, but like the plant at about 2 feet tall was, I think it was probably like 14-ish, $15. I'm going to fill out the garden bed, some with sort of mature plants. They're still small. This is huge right here. I mean, I'm sitting down and it's about the size of me, but I got this 50% off because it doesn't have the buds on it right now, but you can kind of see it's about to start flowering right there. And yeah, I'm going to fill out a whole um, raised garden bed, like an 8x2 garden bed with all these seeds. Once it gets a little bit cooler, let it establish itself before the winter comes, and then boom, it should pop back up in its full splendor come next February, March, just in time for the monarch migration here in Texas, and also should be able to get some love out of it maybe later this season as well. Last but definitely not least, make sure you have a plan to maintain the garden. It is, in theory, like a wild garden, but you need to make sure you have a plan to maintain it throughout the entire year because weeds are going to find a way. Non-native plants are going to find a way. Most likely, if your neighbors have plants in their garden, they're non-native, and they get into your garden because a bird takes a seed from one of a vitex tree or the crepe myrtles, which are everywhere here in North Texas. They fly, they drop it into your yard. They fly, they drop other more prevalent weeds that you see all throughout your yard into your habitat, and then those weeds start to crowd out and push away the native plants that you have in the garden there. So have a plan to maintain it. Make sure you're not using pesticides, even if the pesticides are, in theory, good. They're not good for a monarch waystation because all bugs kind of have a role in the ecosystem, even the ones that you don't like. And yeah, that is it. If you watched this far, hopefully I inspired you to start the Waystation Part 2. I'll start moving things around once it hopefully drops below 100 degrees for an extended period of time and then get these plants in the dirt right there. So, yeah, if you're watching this, go talk to your plants in the garden. They miss you.